Welcome to Octane Mobile Gaming. Welcome once again to the channel. I'm Octane, your host, and today we take a look at the new deck that's out for the next event, which starts later on this afternoon. Now, this deck is a fire commander deck and it's Beast Killer. We're gonna jump right in. We're gonna look at the cards, then we're gonna take a look at the news link. I think the news link for this week, it's basically announcing that you can get your second pink star for free if you actually craft the ultimate form within the next 24 hours, that's quite nice to get a second pink star for free. Let's get straight into the deck, and this is your first card, which is your ultimate form. It's called Heretic Hunters, and Heretic Hunter will convert all non-fire power gems to fire power gems and upgrade all fire power gem by 2 ranks. Then it will create 14 fire power gem 7s. So we've got fire power gem 7s being created by your cards. Now, it's only on the ultimate form. The other cards don't create fire power gem 7s. So it's relatively new. But fire power gem 7s means more power, especially because this card upgrades all fire power gems on the board to 2 rank higher, which is really nice. Now we've got Brothers in Banditry, which we all know is a very useful utility card. It's a utility card that's been dominating the Earth Commander event for the last 3 events. So this one I can see it dominating the Fire Commander events for the next foreseeable future until something better comes out or they stealth nerf this card. It also increases self damage by 275. Brothers in Banditry will give you 300%, but this card is more powerful. Simply, it creates power gem 7s and it creates 14 power gem 7s. It actually upgrades all fire power gems on the board to 2 rank higher. Brothers in Banditry doesn't really do that, so it's far more powerful than Brothers in Banditry. It's a really good utility card going forward, so I'm gonna give my recommendation on this deck when we finish, and my recommendation is gonna be real good. It's only got 1 passive, which massively increases fire gem drop rate at the start of each turn, which when it comes to passive ability, that is pretty disappointing. But I guess the battle skill actually offsets the fact that it hasn't got really decent passive. It doesn't produce power gems passively, and it's got a free turn cooldown. Now we've gotten used to our commander cards actually producing power gems passively over a certain amount of turns, which helps us to go through wave fights. You really need a powerful deck, especially when it comes to the Radiant wave fights, because the rare spawn bosses can be very strong, especially the final boss. So this card is, I think it's a really good card anyway, even though it doesn't spawn power gems passively. It's got a counter skill that dispels Judgment. Judgment is not a debuff, it's a buff for the boss, and Judgment actually affects you when you heal. So when you heal, it actually affects your HP. So it's almost like Thorns, but the criteria for it actually giving damage to your deck is when you heal, it actually activates this this ability that the boss has got, and it affects your HP. So that is your ultimate form. Really powerful ultimate form, a really good ultimate form. We're gonna jump straight into Faceless, which is your Master Collection card, and this one converts all non-fire power gems to fire power gems, and it upgrades all fire power gems to 2 rank higher. It increases self damage by 275% as well for 1 turn. It's got a free turn cooldown. It hasn't got any passive. Now this deck it's slightly reminiscent of Culinary Kings and Master Chef, but I think this one is for me, I think it's a bit nicer than Culinary Kings and a bit more powerful than Brothers in Banditry. It hasn't got any passive on the Master Collection card, and it dispels Thorn. So we got Judgment and we got Thorn. So Thorn is also a buff for the boss. So the bosses are running 2 buffs this week. Thorn and Judgment both affect your HP. Thorns will not kill you, but it will basically affect your HP quite drastically. It's not like counter actually it will kill you, but Thorns will not kill you. This is Maven of Morality, which is your ultra rare, and your ultra rare has got a straightforward battle skill. It creates 14 power gem 6s for 3 turn. Well, it's got a 3 turn cooldown, and it's got the passive that massively increase fire gem drop rate. So quite straightforward. Counter skill, it dispels Weaken. Weaken affects any card that boosts damage or attack. Any boost, it affects that. So you will need to dispel Weaken, because it will affect your Master Collection card and it will affect your ultimate form. So that needs to be dispelled. This is the card that's gonna give you lots of fire power gem if you've got more than 1 copy. We'll talk about the balance between Master Collection card, ultra rares, and other cards that you can add in. Now Interrogator Xian is your support card. It destroys all non-fire gems. It's got a 3 turn cooldown, and it also moderately increases gem drop rate. Quite straightforward. It's the only card on the deck that's a gem destroyer. I always love my gem destroyer. This, I like the skill, the fact that it actually destroys gems. It doesn't heal, it doesn't create any gems, but it's sort of nice because it's a gem destroyer. So I like it. It's not powerful, it's not brilliant, but I like it because it's a gem destroyer. It dispels Judgment as well. Pretty straightforward support card, nothing special. Let's look at the main hero. So the main hero is Keeper Crow, and this one will upgrade 5 fire power gem by 1 rank. Now this is a quite decent, a quite nice main hero because it upgrades 5 power gems. It doesn't really create power gem. It increases self damage by 125%, which is okay. It can be used as a main damage dealer, and it will add a bit to a non-event deck, or if you are a new player, this is a nice one that you could have on your deck. if you haven't got anything else. It's a not a wood decent, but it's a pretty nice main hero. It's got a free turn cooldown, no passive, and it dispels Thorn. So that one is quite straightforward as well. So the deck this week is not too complicated. It's quite straightforward. What I think of this deck, I think it's a really nice deck. I don't think it's absolutely brilliant. It could come close to being brilliant. I think it's gonna be powerful because there are other cards that you can throw in to give this this deck really nice bang for your buck. Especially if you've got a free pink star or above, you will be doing pretty decent damage with this deck. Now, the balance between Master Collection card and Ultra Rare, your Ultra Rare is the one that's gonna give you lots of firepower gems on the board. If you've got 2 Ultra Rare, you'll be creating 28 power gems with those 2, and then you've got the 14 coming from your ultimate form as well, so you will have your gem crush. I don't really think you need 2 Ultra Rare on the board. I think 1 Ultra Rare should be fine. You will need to activate your Ultra Rare before your ultimate form so that you can actually upgrade those power gems coming from your Ultra Rare. Then you would need 1 or 2 Master Collection card at the end to upgrade. It does a self increase of 275%, so it will also be your main damage dealer. So 2 Master Collection card with 275% boost to their damage will be doing pretty decent damage alongside your ultimate form. So that's 3 cards under that deck that's gonna be your main damage dealer. Now you would like to probably add a 5th card, which is something that's gonna give you an extra boost to all the rest of the cards on your deck and give you a bit extra power gems as well. And that's where you find cards such as this one will come in handy. You've got cards like, say, this one, Altian New Guards. You've got, well, Flamebound Taurus is a older beast killer commander card, which if you haven't got the current ultimate form, you can use to get the killer skill. You've got Immolating Fate. You've got Exalted Champion, and Exalted Champions will give you a boost. So Exalted Champion will create 18 firepower gems over 3 turns at a rate of 6 + 6. It will increase all damage dealt by Fire Commander by 100%. So that's an extra 100% you could add to your 2 Master Collection card, your ultimate form, and they will deal a bit more damage. Now, you could consider to add, say, Culinary Kings in the mix, but Culinary Kings is a Slayer card. It does upgrade power gems to 2 level higher. It does create a few power gems as well. It's not really going to give a massive amount of value to your deck. It could be useful if you haven't got, say, Exalted Champion, or you haven't got Altian's New Guard. It could be a card that you could use. I mean, you can try these cards out because, as I said last week, it's about trying out cards, see how they work out, see if they actually do what you want them to do. Because last week I wasn't really sure about using Sirens, but when I tried it and it worked, wow, I was really surprised, and it was a really, really decent deck. However, I did find something really strange about the deck last week. And the thing that I found out about the deck was when my Sirens created their water power gems and they were converted by the light deck, I noticed that they only converted them, they didn't upgrade them. I always thought that when you converted or overwrite gems of an off affinity with a power gem spawner, it would upgrade those gems being converted to at least 1 level higher. But I realized that it doesn't. It just overwrites them and it doesn't upgrade them anymore. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't read any news link or I didn't see any announcement stating that power gems of off affinity, when they're overwritten, are not going to be upgraded. They're only going to be overwritten. So maybe it's just me, or maybe it's a bug or whatsoever, but I noticed that last week. Yep, so you've got cards like Perceptive Guru. If you haven't got the current ultimate form, you have got Flame Bound Taurus, or you've got a really old ultimate form, which is not going to really be very useful. That one, it was garbage when it came out in its event, and I think it will be garbage this time around. Servant of Savagery is your oldest ultimate form that's got Beast Killer, Fire Beast Killer, and this one, I think it was a rainbow gem deck, so it convert up to 5 column of the board into rainbow of power gem 1s at a rate of 2 columns and increase, but it does give you a attack boost of 50%, which is not all that much, and it gives you ultimate gem, which is garbage. So that's one that, unless you have no other choice, it's one that you could use. But if you have got Flame Bound Taurus, I would recommend you using Flame Bound Taurus in place of Servant of Savagery. Servant of Savagery is just one of them cards that came out, wasn't good in its event, and still not good up till today. I can't really find much application for that one. So Flame Bound Taurus will be the ultimate form that you would have to use, or you could use if you haven't got anything else available. Like myself, most of you may not have got anything from the vault. However, I can craft one of the cards today, and I will be able to craft the second one probably tomorrow, or if I get lucky in the 500 gem vault, then I probably could craft it early tomorrow, or it would probably have to be Friday. But if I do get lucky, I will be showcasing it tomorrow. Let's move on. So those are some of the cards that you could use. Let's get rid of Beast Killer and look at the cards. So we've got, let's see what we've got in my collection. So in my collection, when it comes to, so this one is not good, that's very old, that's not really gonna help you in no way, shape, nor form. There's a lot of ultimate forms that we've got that we just really can't find much use for them nowadays, because Revenge's Source, not gonna be very useful. I mean, you could use Perceptive Guru alongside Flamebound Taurus and go from, say, the Immortal Killer side, because you could use an Immortal Killer deck if you've got this one. I've only got the ultra rare, didn't get the master collection card, so I haven't got the ultimate form. You could use that one in combination with, say, Perceptive Guru, Exalted Champions, spawn really decent power gems on the board and do some damage that way. You could use Arcane Killer. You just use Flamebound Taurus, use Altian New God, then you can use Circuit Break Ilaria, and you could go from that perspective as a non-event deck. If you've got the event deck, then I think the best way to go is 4 cards from the current deck and one other card that's gonna give you some extra power gem and extra boost. And I think when it comes to it, I would say you could go with this one if you've got this one, or you could go with the Exalted Champion. Exalted Champion does give you extra 20% damage increase. I mean, Immolating Fae, it does increase commander damage by 50%. That's a bit low, but if you haven't got some of these cards, you could use other. If you haven't got Exalted Champion, for example, you haven't got Altian New God, you could use Immolating Fae, or vice versa. Whichever one you got, you throw them in and you can get a pretty decent deck. We're gonna look at decks tomorrow in possible deck combination. This is one that I was trying out and it works okay. It's not relatively powerful. I think the current deck is gonna be really decent. So tomorrow we'll discuss possible deck combination. Power Gem 7s is here. It's a really good deck, and my recommendation is it's the last event of the season. Any season coins that you keep, you'll have to use it, else it just be converted to points, and there's nothing really that brilliant in the loyalty store. Nothing much to buy there anyway. Few things in there that, so I wouldn't say convert it to loyalty kind. I would say go ahead, craft the current deck. If you only can craft one card, then it's a toss-up between the ultra rare or the master collection card. I personally would go for the master collection card for the fact that it's able to actually upgrade power gems to 2 level higher. That will be really useful in commander events going forward. It can be useful in slay events if you haven't got Culinary Kings, but if you have got Culinary Kings, then you wouldn't really need the master collection card if you're going from the slay route. But if you're going from the commander route, then it would be very useful, because then you'll get that 275% boost to its own attack, and it upgrades power gems as well. So I would personally go for the master collection card over the ultra rare. If it's which deck is the most powerful deck or the best deck this season, I'll have to think that one over, because we did get some pretty good decks this season. Last season we saw brilliant decks. This season we're seeing some good decks as well. This one I think is pretty decent. I think the Earth one was quite nice as well, being as it was a bounty deck. Last week deck was a really good deck for GVG. So each deck has got their own application. It depends on what your playing style is. Some people playing style is events, some people playing style is events and command events and GVG. Some people it's primarily GVG. So it's up to the individual what they're concentrating on within the game. But I said, if you're concentrating on GVG, go for the light deck. If you're concentrating on event, I would say you could go for the fire deck. If it's an overall GVG bounty event, I would say go for the earth deck, because the earth deck is more for all around that, but the earth deck is really good as well. So I'm not gonna say one or the other. I would say the water deck wasn't too bad either. So it's a toss-up. I really think this season we got some pretty decent deck. The dark deck, I didn't get the dark deck, but saw some people doing some really decent damage with it. But that boost that they get, it's not up to you to activate it. Activate as and when it pleases. So it's random, and I don't like random skills. I like skills that you are in control of. So we're gonna look at possible deck combination tomorrow. I might have the deck tomorrow, so look forward to possible deck combination. And if you craft your deck today, you get a second pink star. That's something that is really, really good. So don't save your coins, use your coins. I would say get this deck if you can. Use your coins to get this deck. If you have got the gems, do get this deck. It's gonna be really useful going forward, especially in fire commander events going forward. It's a really good utility card, and I've said this about a lot of decks in the past, including Brothers in Banditry, that it was a really good utility card. It's proven that it's a really good utility card, and I think this one is going to be a really brilliant utility card going forward. So you really need something like this within your collection. So that's where I'm gonna leave it today. Tomorrow we'll pick it up again when we do possible deck combination. So look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Thanks for your support. Peace, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.